Welcome to everyone. This is the third and final talk of this speaker series. And although the three parishes haven't gotten together yet, I presume we'll do it again next year. I want to thank I do want to thank the committee members from all three parishes for their publicity work, for their hospitality work, different arrangements. It's nice to, it goes like clockwork now. This is our third time. In case you are new here to Christ the King, the restrooms are out that door, to your left, on your left. And tonight we're happy to welcome Dr. Ernie Collamati, who is the chair of the religious studies at Regis College in Weston. Been there since the late 80s. And just to find out a few things about him, I Googled him. And it brought me to a student critique website. I'd have to say it was very, very positive. Several said that he was the best teacher they ever had at Regis. And you don't even have to pay tuition tonight to listen to him. So let's see how he is going to save the Catholic Church.
Bonsoir, mes chers amis. Bonsoir. Ça va très bien ce soir, oui. Is anyone here from Woonsocket, Rhode Island? You were born and brought up in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. I knew if I asked here, a moment of grace would occur. Moi aussi. That is my birthplace. And a number of people say, wait a minute, your last name is Collamati. How does Collamati fit with what it was traditionally a Franco-American community? I said, the story is fascinating. But it's no more fascinating than your story, if we just have a moment to discover it. Because I'm convinced if we just have the moment to encounter the other and turn the first page, we open an incredible book of another person's life. And it happened that a woman named Jenny Lott, who was the daughter of immigrants from France and was raised in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, fell in love with Ernesto Collamati, an immigrant from I Marche in Italy, who had come over to seek his own development and to provide eventually for his family, fell in love with Jenny. And to my amazement now when I look back on it, as a kid you think this is just the way things are. We were a trilingual family. So I grew up learning French, Italian, and English in the town of Woonsocket. And your name, sir, is? Ivano Cunha. Ivano, you recall that in years gone by in Woonsocket, it was not whether one was Catholic, but what kind. No, I mean that. It was that kind of experience. Some of you may have come from kinds of experiences that are similar. But I thank you. And I can also say certainly, buonasera, buenas noches. But my real question tonight is, what are you doing here on a glorious evening in Cape Cod? Don't you have anything better to do? I am deeply honored to Monsignor Hoyt, to the committee, to the pastors of the other two parishes who have combined over the years to do what I just shared with Dan, namely, you're doing something Catholic in the best sense of the word, in that you are not simply going it your own. We are a communion of churches. And the more we get it into our head and into our larger practice, we will more reflect the communion that is the body of Christ. So my kudos to all of you. And in submitting possible topics, the committee said, we would like you to address how to save the Catholic Church. Wait a minute, it's not a comedy hour. Although I'll get to that in a moment. Because I think it resonates with what I sense is the concern of so many. because we find ourselves in such a horrendous state of affairs that we never imagined would occur in our lifetime. Am I sensing you are also of the same conviction? If someone would have said to you that not only in the United States, but now globally, the Roman Catholic Church faces a grave crisis that is in fact attacking the very roots of its credibility, you probably would have said, what a joke. This could not ever be. But indeed, that is exactly what we face right now. We can legitimately say we Catholics who love the Church are living through a very grave crisis in the history of the Church. But let me spend a few minutes on the word crisis because I want us to understand the depths and implication of that word crisis. Crisis comes from the Greek word krinein, and it means to judge. It means to discern. It is an opportunity, and it is a challenge. But it is not necessarily a tragedy. And so perhaps let me introduce you to the structure of the problem we face with a few initial words on how I'm going to approach it. And then I'd like to begin to address what are the resources we have as Catholics to address what ails us and to leap with conviction into this third millennium. So, first, just a note about myself. Tonight, I know through kind publicity and all, you know that I'm a college professor and a theologian. But I also want you to know that I want to address this issue with you as the father of two adult sons. The names will not surprise you, Anthony and Dominic. And maybe it won't come as such a shock, and Monsignor Hoy knows her well, that my wife, Susie, who teaches full-time in theology at Bishop Fian High School, is actually Susanna Marie Mastroianni, who is now Susanna Marie Mastroianni Collamati, which hardly fits on one line. All right. We have a son, Anthony, who is 34, married, and two wonderful children, Rocco and Hugo, and Dominic Joseph Collamati, age 31. I say that because so many of you are parents of children for whom you wish the treasure of the Catholic experience. And you wonder how, after we go to God, will this treasure be embraced and lived out by the next generation? And a number of us are old enough and blessed through the gift of our own children that they now have children, if not great-grandchildren in your life. And you wonder too, way down the road, what will our church be like? And so, a little background on the crisis that we face. First, it is not the first major crisis the church has faced. All one needs to do is read a little church history, and you realize that crises have been part of our experience from first century Christianity. Now, the nature and scope varied, but I'll give you a simple example. The very forefathers and